I am joining you today from Northampton, Massachusetts. Lewis is in the David Pakman Show studios in Boston, Massachusetts. More on that, probably on the bonus show, I guess. I want to get right into the news. You might not have heard over the weekend that Bernie Sanders won several primaries and that the race between him and Hillary Clinton is by no means done. I mean, every time I turned on corporate media over the weekend, it was either Hillary Clinton speaking, the discussions about the states she won, but not the ones that Bernie Sanders won. So let's take a look at what actually happened over the weekend. First of all, in terms of the primaries, we had a Kansas win for Bernie Sanders, 68 to 32. And we had a Nebraska win for Bernie Sanders, 57 to 43. In Louisiana, Hillary Clinton trounced Bernie Sanders, 71 to 23. And in Maine, a 2-1 victory for Hillary Clinton, 64 to 36. So over the weekend, Bernie won 2, Hillary won 2. So where do they stand in terms of delegates, remembering that these are all states with proportional delegate allocation? I am going to show you the numbers. And we got a lot of email last week when I showed you the delegate count on the Democratic side, including these superdelegates that are mostly presumed to be supporting Hillary Clinton, and some have said they're supporting Hillary Clinton. And you know what? I got feedback saying, David, if you're talking about the primaries, you should really just talk about the delegates that were won based on the voters, aka democracy. So we're going to do that. We are going to deal with the superdelegate situation later. For the time being, let's look at the delegate count based on delegates won from the popular vote in these primaries. So let's take a look at those numbers, Lewis. You will see that Hillary Clinton has 676 delegates, which has her 28% of the way to the needed 2,383 delegates. Now, Bernie Sanders has 476 delegates won, 20% of the way to the needed 2,383 delegates. So, Lewis, the narrative has been Hillary is running away with this thing mathematically based on delegates won from actual people voting. I mean, imagine that. It's only a slight difference. Hillary Clinton 28% of the way to where she needs to be, and Bernie Sanders 20% of the way.
Yeah, I think it's this makes me happy, of course, as a totally biased Bernie supporter here. I'm not sure what to add other than we are hitting those Bernie states, I guess, and it's going to be interesting to see if Bernie can defeat the establishment.
Well, the establishment is strongly represented in these superdelegates, right? If we do add in what we believe to be the overwhelming Hillary Clinton support by these superdelegates, then it does change the numbers drastically. But as you and I have spoken about, Lewis, the initial reasons for putting in superdelegates, whatever you believe them to be, and there are different stories about that, we've heard from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair, that the point of superdelegates is to prevent establishment Democrats from running against activists. Now, whether she thinks of Bernie Sanders as an activist, I mean, it's really kind of hard to imagine. This is a lifelong politician. But we know the purpose that they are serving today, and that is going to be a factor. We can look at the numbers now without including them, but sooner or later, the superdelegates will become a factor.
That is true, but the super delegates do have the ability to change, right, to change who they are supporting, right? I mean, if they all of a sudden decide that perhaps we should have an actual democracy here, then they could move to Bernie's camp.
The good news in this entire thing is both of the Democratic candidates are on balance far better than any of the Republican candidates, particularly the ones that remain at this point. Quick correction, at the beginning of the show, I said, we incorrectly said that Bernie Sanders lost in Maine in the Democratic primary. Bernie Sanders handily won in Maine in the Democratic primary. I want clarity this evening, just making sure we correct the record on that.